Hello, and welcome to episode 30 of the Sarah Seams podcast. I always have to check my notes. I can never remember what episode it is. My name's Sarah. I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my partner Troy and our cats Alex and Moo. It is a hot, muggy day here in Columbus. That's how you know spring is officially here and summer is well on its way. I have tons of stuff to share with you today. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode just because of some of the kind of things that I have to share. So I'll stick to my regular format. We'll start with finished objects, works in progress, and then acquisitions and chat at the end. But I do just want to say up front, today is going to be a very acquisition heavy episode. It's not all things that I have purchased, but we did have local yarn store day. I received a really nice gift from a viewer that I want to share with you. And just this morning, I went to a craft supply swap at one of my local fabric stores. So I brought a ton of stuff home from that, but all of it was free. So I do still want to share all of that with you because I got some really exciting stuff, but just putting that up front that it's gonna be a heavier acquisition section today. What else do I want to say right off the top? I also have some exciting things in chat today. So all that being said, if you want to follow along with more of my progress, you can find me on Instagram, Ravelry. All those links are down below in the description box, as well as links for all of the patterns that I'm going to talk about today. Those will also be in the description box. And if there's anything I talk about that isn't listed below, please feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, and I will be sure to respond to that. So, all of that being said, let's jump in with finished objects. And today I have 3 sewn finished objects that I'm going to start with, and then I have 1 knitting finished object that is, I just finished it right before I sat down to record. So the first thing that I finished, which is also what I'm wearing, is the Nyx dress. This is a pattern by Closet Core Patterns. If you see me looking over, just looking at my notes here, it's available up to a 60-inch bust and a 63-inch hip. And I made the size 18 to 20, so the top's an 18, the bottom is a 20. I'll stand up just so you can see the bodice, but then I also have a little video. But I just wanted to show you these really cool vintage buttons that I have on here, and hopefully you can see how they're kind of sparkly. So I got those at an antique mall. The fabric is a really dense but lightweight, I think probably polyester, just like a drapey kind of satiny fabric that I also got at an antique market. So this is a upcycle project. Here's the little video of me wearing it. I've made this dress a couple times before. I love it, but I do have to say this is my favorite one yet, just because I was able to get the full skirt length on this one. My other 2 are shorter versions, and I'm just more comfortable in a shorter skirt, or a longer skirt. This project I would say is probably like a 6 to 8 hour project. So I did sew it in one day, but it took me like most of the day to finish it. Oh, excuse the text noise. Let me mute that. So yeah, this is a bit of a longer project. The bodice especially just has some like kind of finicky little details, but are what make it so nice. So there's, you know, the gathering at the shoulder as well as the sleeve. The neckline is bias bound, and then you can see you make these little button loops. So a loop turner is very handy for this project. I have to say it would be very difficult without that, unless you were going to use like ribbon or elastic or something to make your button loops. This dress just fits me really well. I really, really like it. One thing I did do, the front, this is 2 separate pieces, and I was just more comfortable hand stitching the pieces together behind the button placket so that that doesn't gape open when you're sitting. So that's just one note, and they do include that as an optional instruction in the pattern as well. So yeah, very happy with this. The little video that I put in is from my Me Made May reels that I've been doing, so I'll just touch on that now. May is Me Made May on the like sewing Instagram community. It's a community event where you're encouraged to wear your Me Made garments, whether that be knit, sewn, crochet, whatever it is that you like to do, and just try wearing them and styling them in new ways and sharing them with the community if you want to, and documenting them if you want to. There's no pressure or like specific guidelines. You just kind of do whatever you want to do. So this year I'm trying to post a reel on Instagram every day if I can, with my like me-made garment that I'm wearing, and that little video was when I wore this the other day after I finished it. So yeah, this is my most recent sewn project. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out, and I think I'll be wearing it a lot this spring and summer. Okay, the next two I have are less exciting than this. I made 2 more Donovan skirts. Let me put a picture of the skirt in here just because I don't have any video footage of me wearing these. It's really classic. I've made these are probably like my 5th and 6th ones. I've made so many. This has become like a complete wardrobe staple for me, and it's a really quick and easy sew. So I made 2 versions. Oh, I'm knocking things on the floor. The first one is just a simple black linen version. This is just gonna be a workhorse in my wardrobe, and I made it with some leftover linens that I had in my stash. What I didn't realize is that the front and the back are slightly different colors. I thought that they were both Brussels washer linen, but apparently they're not. So I don't think anyone will notice that except for me, but maybe you can see the waistband is like slightly darker than the skirt fabric, and that's because they are technically different. But again, I don't think anyone will notice that except for me, and that is just fine. The second version I made was from this khaki green tinsel twill that I had gotten in a D-stash, and I love this version. I added the waist tie on this version, which I did not add on the black version. And it has the slash pockets, which are included in the pattern. It also has this slit on the side. And for this one, I think I might go back and add some cargo pockets on the side. That was kind of my initial plan for this one, and then I just started thinking like, oh, this fabric is so drapey, like would a pocket look good or would it just weigh it down? But I think I might make the pockets and try pinning them on and seeing if I like it or not, because I think it could be a cute way to play into the cargo trend in a way that is more like my style versus like a cargo pant. Also, this particular shade of this like khaki green color that's a little bit more blue is so good for me, and I really, really like it. So yeah, I think, let me know what you think. Should I add cargo pockets or not? I'm leaning towards trying it out. I should say, oh, sorry. This pattern is available up to a 62-inch hip, and I made size 20, straight size 20 for both of those. And I would recommend this as a really good beginner garment pattern. Helen's Closet is particularly good at writing patterns for beginners and including lots and lots of tips. Like, they'll walk you through every step, and this pattern is really size inclusive. This is more like a 1 to 2 hour sewing project for me. If that tells you anything, I can sit down and whip this up without even looking at the directions now. So, but that's just because I've made it so many times. All right, so those are my sewing FOs. I didn't think I was gonna have any finished knitted objects for you this week, and I don't know if that's ever been the case. This is primarily a knitting podcast, and I knit every day. And I was fine with that. I was like, it's fine, I'm just gonna have my sewing objects. I've definitely been sewing more than knitting a little bit recently since the weather's getting nicer. I have the sewing bug, and that's fine. You know, sometimes our crafts like ebb and flow, and I was like, it's fine, I'm just gonna show my sewn FOs and I'll show this in WIPs. But I did manage to finish knitting this right before I sat down, as I said. So I have knit. You have never seen this before. It's been cast on and off within the past week. I have knit the Penta Pillar Pullover by James N. Watts. It is absolutely crazy, and here it is. So it's obviously not been blocked yet. I just finished weaving in the ends before I sat down. I'm gonna get it on the blocking mats right after this. How to show it to you. So the story here is that we went to local yarn store day last weekend. Oh, my ball band is on the floor. And I knew I wanted to make one of these this summer, and I found this yarn. at one of the local yarn stores, 614 Knit. I knew I wanted a color changing effect like the Noro used in the pattern, but I knew I wanted cotton. So I found this perfect yarn, and it was Barocco Bazzolo. It's a funny name. It is 100% cotton, and it's kind of like a DK worsted weight, I would say. Yeah, DK, like a heavy DK or light worsted. And it is, I don't really know how to explain it. It's not really a chainette, but it's like a very soft, lofty kind of yarn. Here's a little close-up. And yeah, I cast this on that day, I think. I cast it on April 27th, and I cast it off today. So it took me 8 days to knit. This is pretty much the only knitting project that I worked on the past week. So I am gonna just touch on quite a few of my other WIPs, but they've gotten very little progress compared to this because I was just obsessed with it. Like, it was so fun to knit, and it turned out completely crazy. Like, I was jokingly calling it my clown shirt, but I think it's gonna be very fun to wear to like certain events this summer. It's not like an everyday top by any means, but it's so fun. So, okay, here's the front. Here is the back. So the color changes are just so satisfying. And let me tell you a little bit more about it. So the pattern is by James Watts. It is available up to a 69-inch bust, and they recommend 4 to 8 inches of positive ease. I made size 4 for a 49-inch bust. I do think mine is gonna end up being a little bit smaller than that, but it fits just fine still. And the construction is so fun. It's a modular construction. So you knit, well, you start with the back, and you cast on just for this stripe and knit that. And then you pick up stitches and knit the next stripe, and so on and so forth. And the back's basically just a big rectangle, but then on the front, you've got a couple of columns with neck shaping. So once you have your 2 panels, then you have to seam everything up. So if you don't like, I will say, if you don't like picking up stitches or seaming, this is probably not a great project for you. But if you want to work on improving picking up stitches and seaming, this is a great project to learn on. So after you finish the front and back panels, you seam the shoulders and you seam the side seams. I think my seaming looks really good. I'm very proud of it. I think I finally mastered mattress stitch on this project. And you get to practice doing it vertically and horizontally, since you have to seam the sides and the top. So those stitches are facing different directions. So you get to practice both types of mattress stitch. And mattress stitch is a technique that kind of had eluded me until this project, so that was a really nice learning. Then you gotta pick up for everything. So you pick up and knit the neckband, pick up and knit the bottom band, and you have to pick up and knit the sleeves. I shortened my sleeves 1 inch from what the pattern suggests. That is the only modification I made. I had 3 skeins of the Bazzolo, which each one is 240 yards, so I had like 700 some yards. And I knit the shortest recommended length in the pattern. So there, it does come with 4 different like recommended lengths, but you could easily customize how long you want it to be just by knitting your first panel like shorter or longer and then matching it for all the others. And I had just enough yarn. I have a bit left, but it was like just enough. So 3 balls of this could get you this top in size 4 in the most cropped version. Like I said, I initially knit the sleeve to the full recommended length, but when I tried it on, it was coming just close enough to my elbow crease that I could tell it was gonna get like crunched up from just like living in it. And that kind of bothers me. So I shortened it just 1 inch. Now it hits perfectly. And I actually think the shorter sleeve looks a little bit cuter with the design anyway, at least for me. What else to say about it? I don't know, it's just so fun. I do think on the bottom hem, you can see it pulling in. I think there's a chance I might have to redo the bottom hem. I picked up the recommended amount of stitches and bound off very loosely as suggested in the pattern, but it's still a bit tight on the bottom. So I'm gonna block it and see how that comes out. It might end up being fine, but if it's not, I might just have to redo the bottom band, and that's no big deal. Yeah, I think that's it. I knit this crazy weird top and I love it. It's so fun. Like, this is obviously not the most practical thing to make, but I found that it's these like really colorful, fun, like interesting projects that just like grab my attention, and I just don't want to put them down, and I get them finished in like a week. And I mean, I think this is just a testament to that. Like, no, I won't wear it every day, but I will definitely wear it a few times this summer, and I think it's kind of a showstopper. I love it. I really enjoyed the yarn. I would definitely use it again. They have lots of really fun colorways. And yeah, that is my Penta Pillar Pullover by James Watts. I love it. I can't wait to block it. Maybe I'll wear it on the next episode for you all. All right, that's it for finished objects. Let's move on to WIPs. Okay, so for WIPs today, I thought since I didn't make a lot of progress on these, because I was working on the Penta Pillar, I am just gonna touch on them just to keep them fresh in our minds and show you the little bit of progress that I did make. And then I do have one new WIP to show you at the end. So first up, let's do socks. First pair I'm going to show you are my kind of like car socks right now, my traveling project in this really cute little Japanese rice bag, project bag that I picked up from a local maker. And I did make some progress on these. So this is basic sock number 2 from Summer Lee's new sock book, The Sock Project, and I finished the first one. I think I talked about how the foot is too long and the ribbing is too short and too tight. So I am probably going to be doing a little bit of surgery on this pair when I finish the second pair. But I have made some decent progress on the second pair. These are toe up and I'm using magic loop. So I think I only need like another 10 rows or so on these before I'll put in my stitch marker for the afterthought heel and then knit a couple more inches for the leg. So I think maybe overall I've got like 4 or 5 more inches of knitting on these, but once you start the leg, they go pretty quickly. This is my first pair of magic loop socks. The main yarn, this one, is a self-striping yarn. It's called Sugar Saki. It is by Universal Yarn. The color is Spun Sugar. I picked that up at Moon & Yarn Craft Room during their grand opening weekend last year. So yeah, kind of just been working on these whenever I get a minute here or there or some time in the car. So I do think I'll have them finished fairly soon. Part of me just wants to sit down and finish both of these pairs of socks like today. So that might happen, we'll see. It feels weird to not have like finished socks for a while. I feel like my sock mojo is a little bit shifting into like summer tea mojo, so we'll see, but I do want to keep up with my socks. Okay, the second pair is basic sock number 3 from Summer's book, and these are a shorty sock with a forethought heel. So here's the finished one that I had last time. It has this cute little stockinette folded cuff with this pop color on the inside. And then I'm using a really fun leftover variegated yarn for the foot and a solid blue silvery color for the heel and toe. And I have just barely started the second one. So I finished the cuff on the second one. And I've put in my row for the forethought heel there, that pink row. And now I'm just moving on to the foot. So it looks like I really haven't done much, but I guess I just have to knit the foot. So like 80 rows, maybe less. And then the toe, put in the heel, and then these are done. So like I said, I kind of just want to like knock these socks out and move on to something else. The yarns are left over from other socks. So yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember what they all are. I know this one was from Palmer Yarn Co. I think the pink was Lang Jowl, and the silvery blue is maybe Kelborn Woolens Perennial, but I'm not sure about the colors. But yeah, that's my second sock project. Okay, next I'm gonna show you my oolong tank, which last time, oh gosh, I've got it on try it on tubing. Okay, I'll show it to you as best as I can. I think I had to steal the needles out of this to finish my Penta pillar. I definitely did. So that's what's happening. Last time, I think I was still, oh my gosh. Ah, I've dropped stitches. Hold please. I never do that. And I've lost my stitch marker. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm a little scattered today. We're just doing our best over here. Okay. Let me tie this in a knot so I don't lose all of my stitches. Okay, last time I showed this, I just was still kind of slogging through the twisted rib, but you can see now I've got a few inches of body done. This project I've really just been working on when I'm walking on the treadmill because it is a cotton linen blend and it's mostly stockinette now except for the little lace panel on the front. So you can see, I'll show it here. You can see the pretty little leaf lace starting to emerge, but the rest of the body is stockinette. There are a couple decreases here and there. It has a bit of an A-line shape. But yeah, now that I'm past the ribbing, it's going much quicker. It's much more enjoyable, and it's still pretty decent treadmill knitting. I think I need to kind of knock out the decreases and then it'll just be pretty straightforward. So yeah, I've been still working on it. I think the color's really nice. The fabric's really nice. This yarn is Kelborn Woolen's Mojave base. It's 60% cotton, 40% linen, and the color is slate gray. So yeah, I think it's gonna be beautiful when it's done. I am planning to maybe crop it like an inch or an inch and a half from what the pattern suggests, just because I really do want it to hit like right at my natural waist. But we will see. This yarn it's really has a nice hand feel. It's a little bit hard to work with, I have to say. Like, of all the summer yarns that I've been using and have used in the past, this one gives me the most like resistance. Like, it's a little bit, it's the least elastic, I think. So especially in the ribbing, I was really feeling it on my hands, but now that we're moved into the stockinette, it's not too bad. All right. Quick update on my Fortunas Wheel pullover. So it's gonna look like I have made like no progress on this, but I swear I have. This is just gonna be a long-term project for me. So this is the Fortunas Wheel pullover. It is a pattern, it's the cover pattern from the last issue of Pom Pom magazine. RIP, miss them. It's coming along. It's starting to look good. The cord's a little small, so my color work is a bit bunchy. Maybe if I show you on the back, it'll look better. You're starting to get that like optic effect, which is really cool. So the main thing I've done on this is I redid the collar, and I can't remember if I already told you all about this or not. Maybe I did, and if I did, I'm sorry, but I had knitted it as suggested with the rolled collar, and I hated it. So I ripped it out, added some additional length to the neck, and I ended up just casting off, like knitting the last couple of rows in ribbing, in pattern, in the solid black, and then just casting off in pattern. And I think that's gonna be a much nicer fit. It's not like flaring out as much. And once I block it, I think it's gonna lay really nicely. And I have been working on the yoke, so I'm almost through the first part of the yoke. And then we're gonna start increasing a little more rapidly, and then the yoke will be done. So, but I really find that when I pick this up, I can really only put like a couple of rows on it at a time. It's just something about doing this color work with worsted weight yarn is very, very slow for me. And I feel like that seems counterintuitive, but I think color work for me is easier with like a fingering or sport weight yarn. I'm not sure why, but this one, I just find it kind of cumbersome. It's heavy. I think it looks amazing. I'm definitely gonna finish it and I'm excited about it, but it is just, it's slow. I really can only put like 3 or 4 rows on it at a time. And maybe I'll get to a point where I really just wanna work on it, but especially now that the weather is getting really hot, This is like an inside only air conditioning project, so I will keep working on it, but it is just gonna take me a while. So I'll just update you when I hit some like major milestones on it. All right, and the last knitting WIP I want to show you, which last time this was my like obsessive new cast on, and I do think I'm gonna go right back to it and probably finish this next, is my Northwoods V-neck by Jessie May. And the yarn is beautiful autumn and indigo. It's their 100% Rambouillet in a couple different colors that I got in a D-stash. So I had joined, I think I was like about here last time, I had joined the body, and now I've knit the last 2 full stripes and I'm on the ribbing. So the last stripe here on the body is gonna be all 2x2 ribbing in this darker color here, and then that's it for the body. And then I will be picking up and doing the neckline and then adding on the sleeves. So yeah, I can't wait to see what it looks like with the neckline on and with the body finished up. So I probably, like I said, will pick that back up next and hopefully make some decent progress on it for next time. That yarn is so lightweight and bouncy. It's still really like manageable to work on, even though it's getting warmer here, and it's still enjoyable. So last WIP I want to show you is a quilt. I started a new quilt. So I really love quilting. I've done quite a bit of it in the past few years. However, last year I took on 2 king-sized quilts and quilted them both on my home sewing machine. And it was such a workout, and the projects were just so large. One of them I wasn't like actually neither of them I was like super thrilled with, if I'm being honest with myself. And I just kind of got burnt out on it. So I worked on a Quiltmas project over the holidays. If you're interested in that, you can check out my Vlogmas videos. I'll try and link one up here. That was really fun. Each day was different, very creative, and that kind of like reignited it for me. But it just had kind of been a minute since I really felt the urge to do quilting. And a couple weeks ago I was like really inspired. So I had a bin full of leftover garment fabrics that I knew I wanted to make a quilt out of eventually, solid linens and gingham linens. And I combined them into blocks and decided I'm gonna just do simple sawtooth star blocks. And I finished the first set of 10. So I have 5 solid fabrics and 5 colors of gingham. And basically my goal is to do every color combination and see how far that gets me, and then kind of fill in whatever gaps I need to get like a throw size quilt. So let me just quickly show you the first 10 I have here. So I have this pretty olive green and then like black and white gingham. The inverse of that here. They all turned out really cute. This one is probably my least favorite combo so far, but it's still cute. I have this kind of chestnutty brown gingham and then a more pink like clay color, or sorry, solid, and a more clay colored gingham. And then the inverse. This one's fun. I had a solid white gingham and this like juicy fruit, pink and orange. Do I keep saying gingham when I mean solid? Solid white, juicy fruit, gingham. Where's today? I've got these out of order here. And then here is the inverse of that one. We've got solid black with a brown and black gingham. Very cute. And this one's my favorite so far. Solid pink with purple and white gingham. Very fun. So yeah, those are my first 10 blocks. I think they turned out really nice. I was a little bit worried with the gingham at first about like how to cut it out. Is it gonna look good if it's not like precise? But I decided to just kind of go for it and trust my gut, and I think they turned out great and I love how they look. I've never quilted with only linen before, but it's delightful. I will say it's a little bit less precise. Like the linen is a little bit more slippery than a cotton. It's not quite as crisp, but the drape is lovely. I think it's gonna be so nice to use as a blanket and like The thing I've always loved about quilts is how they're cool, but they're also cozy. Because I don't like to be super hot, but sometimes I want to be like snuggly. And I feel like a linen, 100% linen quilt is going to be the ultimate in snuggliness. So that's fun. I'm really enjoying that. There's no timeline on it. I'm just going to do batches of 10 blocks at a time until I have those 50. Lay them out and see where I need to fill in any holes, and I'll probably just recreate my favorite ones if I need to duplicate any. So yeah, and I'm actually using a free Sawtooth Star like pattern template from Lo and Behold Stitchery for that, and I'll make sure to link that below for anyone else who's interested. It's a great way to use up like leftover garment fabrics if you're into that, or any like cotton quilting fabrics that you have laying around. Okay, so we're gonna move on to acquisitions. Buckle your seatbelts. We've got a lot to show, but I'll try and move through it at a quick enough pace. So let's move on to the acquisitions. Okay, so the first acquisition I wanted to share with you was a gift from one of my lovely viewers, Sandra. I was posting about my scrappy crochet granny square blanket on Instagram, and Sandra reached out and asked if I needed any more scraps for my blanket, and I actually had just used up the rest of my scraps that I was planning to put in the blanket. So I was like, yes, please send them my way. And Sandra sent me this amazing bag full of all these beautiful scraps. So thank you, Sandra. I really appreciate that. That was so sweet of you to offer and send those over. And I cannot wait to add them to my blanket. I have worked quite a bit on the blanket. I'm planning to show that on my next episode, which is going to be a special Mother's Day episode, which I'll talk about more at the end. But thank you for sending those. They're beautiful. I'm really excited to add them to my blanket. I feel like it's just going to make it feel like a community project, which is awesome. So thank you again. Next, I want to talk about local yarn store day. So local yarn store day was last Saturday, and it was super fun. Or maybe it was Sunday, I can't remember. It was last weekend. It was very fun. My mom and I went to 2 of the local yarn stores. We are lucky enough to have 4 here in Columbus. Actually, we have 5, I think. But we only made it to 2. And the first one we went to is So to Speak, which is a beautiful fabric and yarn store in Worthington, Ohio. They have quilting cottons, garment fabrics, lots of yarn, beautiful stuff. If you're ever in Columbus, that's the one I would recommend that you visit. It's beautiful. It's in an old library. It's a wonderful time. Definitely recommend that you visit there. So we went there first, and I was on the hunt for summer yarns. I want to make all those summer tees and tanks, and I was successful in that. So let me show you what I got there. The first thing I picked up was Rowan Creative Linen. So I got it in this really pretty berry color. It's blowing out a little bit on screen. That's pretty accurate. It's kind of like a raspberry color. Love it. Not exactly sure what I'm gonna make with this yet. I just know I'm gonna make a bunch of the Tulsa tee or Tulsa tank when Rebecca Clow releases that pattern. There's several Sorry Norland tanks and tees that I'd like to make. So I just picked up like tank top or short sleeve crop tee quantities of yarn. This is 50% linen, 50% cotton. Is the color on here? Cannot find it. Anyway, yeah, really pretty. Got 2 or 3 skeins of this. I also, in their sales section, they had this Wool in the Gang Billie Jean yarn that is made from upcycled denim. And this is the color Dirty Denim. It is a really pretty like marl of blue and cream. I thought this would be really cute in a Tulsa tank or one of the Sorry Norland tank, not sure yet, but I got 3 balls of that. And I also got, I think 3 balls of the Rowan Cotton Cashmere, which they also had on sale. These are 50-gram balls. Maybe I got like 4 or 5 of these actually, I can't remember. Sorry, I put away all of them except for the one I'm gonna show you, so I can't remember how many I got. But this is yeah, 85% cotton, 15% cashmere. It feels so nice. I think this is gonna be wonderful to wear. And it is in this really pretty light purple kind of lilac-y color, which I'm really into right now. I'm just leaning into my love for pinks and purples and all things fun. I also got a couple little things there. I got a set of needlepoint protectors that are a little gray kitty who looks like my Alex in a basket of yarn. How could I resist those? Adorable. And I got a bunch of stickers, but this one I thought was the funniest. So it says, I don't know if you also played the game Oregon Trail, but it says you have died from lack of yarn, which is like in the game it would be like you've died of dysentery. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm sorry, but this was like a really popular game when I was a kid and it just made me laugh. So that's going on the filing cabinet. And last but not least, if you spent a certain amount, they were giving away free yarn cozies. So I got this really cute one that was made by Jody, I think, one of the staff members. She's come to craft night. She's super wonderful and nice. I just thought the pink and orange, that's kind of my scheme right now. And it just holds your yarn. It's really, really cute. I actually got an extra one that I will probably give away here on the channel next time we do a giveaway. So yeah, really cute little yarn cozy that was kind of a freebie. And that's it for, so to speak. Second, we went to 614 Knit Studio, which has a more like woolly wool kind of yarn selection. If you're interested in that kind of thing, if you want more like locally produced or dyed yarns, I would say that's the one to go to. And the first thing I saw when I walked in the door and picked up immediately was this bag. So they had a bunch of these in just for yarn store, local yarn store day. It's actually like a lunch tote. I think it's designed for you to like put your lunch box and all your other lunch things in. But I just loved the shape. I love the pattern. It's nice and big on the inside. It has a box bottom, so it stands up on its own. And since I've been working on all these bigger blanket projects, I really wanted a nicer bag to keep like my crochet blanket in as it's getting really big. So that's gonna live in here. And it has a little pocket on the inside as well. So that was the first thing I grabbed. I also got the yarn for my Penta pullover there, that Barocco Bozzolo, that was from there. One fun thing they were doing for local yarn store day was what they were calling a yarn charcuterie spread. So it was like a ton of minis and like embroidery flosses and just like little cute things. And they also had the Doodle Decks by Pacific Knit Co. So this is the basic doodle card deck. And I picked this up because I really want to knit Troy a Fair Isle scarf, just using like stash scraps or maybe some like Jameson's Shetland Spindrift or something. But I don't want to have to think about the pattern. So if I do this, I can just draw a card, pick my next two colors and go, and it'll be fun. And I just think this is such a great idea and I really wanted to support her. So yes, I'm excited about these. Like I said, this is just the basic deck, but she has all kind of fun ones. Like my fun Valentine's Day socks that I made were one of her decks. And then I picked up a couple of the minis too. So I got this really bright, like neon yellowy green acidy color, and then a soft pink and a pretty kind of neutral. So that was fun, the mini, which these might be cute in like striped socks or something. I've just been knitting all of these summerly socks and I feel like I needed some more like complementary like minis to play around with. And the last thing I got there was another summer yarn. I got a top quantity of the Barocco Pima soft cotton in black, which is not the most exciting thing in the world, but it is very practical. I'm trying to knit more black because I wear a ton of it. This is just 100% Pima cotton. It has a really nice twist on it, and it's like a little bit shiny, but it's not mercerized, I don't think. Unless I watch it say like right on here that it is. No, it just says Pima cotton. I would say this is probably like a sport weight. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it's DK. I don't know, sport to DK. So yes, that is what I got at, oh, and one more thing. I got a Nitty Notty. So they had these at checkout, and I've been meaning to get one for ages. I feel like I have kind of stalled out on my spinning because getting it off the bobbins after it was plied and trying to figure out how much I have was like such a nightmare. So I wanted to get a Nitty Notty so I can like properly skein and measure the amount of yarn that I have so that I can more easily plan projects for it. So yes, this is the Ashford Nitty Notty. Very excited that they have those back in stock. All right, that was it for local yarn store day. Now I'm going to talk about what I got at the craft swap this morning. So this is like my Crafty Christmas. It's my favorite event of the year. So to Speak hosts this. It's just wonderful. It's a good time to just go and see everyone, but I had a lot of stuff to take this year. I took quite a few me-made garments, a couple knits that I wasn't happy with or weren't fitting me, and a bunch of leftover yarns, fabrics I wasn't going to use. So I took like 2 huge bags full of stuff in. I left with probably 4 huge bags worth of stuff. And as I said up top, everything it's free. So you bring what you no longer want. You can take whatever you want from what other people bring. And it's kind of like a crazy free-for-all. There was no fighting, which is good, but yeah, it's kind of like a little bit chaotic. You gotta like dig through bags and bins. But if you're willing to look through everything, there is so much treasure to be found. This is the 3rd year I've gone to this event. And some of the things that I've made with the materials that I've gotten at it are some of my absolute favorite things I've ever made. So I'm not going to show you everything that I got because some of it was for other friends of mine that are makers that couldn't go to the event. Some of it was just like little tiny stuff like tapestry needles. And honestly, it would just take me too long to show everything. So I'm going to share the highlights. I'm just going to quickly go through some of it with you. And I would highly, highly recommend if you can find an event like this in your area or start one, it's so wonderful. It's a great way to connect with other crafters. It's a great way to reuse the things that we already have or secondhand things from other people. It's just all around great. So let me show you some of the things that I found. First up, and I kind of couldn't believe this, we are in desperate need of a new oven mitt in our kitchen at home. And I walked in and one of the first things I saw was that somebody had pre-cut a bunch of oven mitts. Like, what are the odds? There was like 20 different ones. So I grabbed these 2 sets. So this one is a really fun like chartreuse gingham. This one is a dark green linen. And they had already cut out the heat resistant interfacing as well. So I have pre-made oven mitts ready to go. I just got to quilt them, sew them together, and there we are. There we have it. So that was a really pleasant surprise, something I would have never expected to find, but something we needed. So also it's kind of a joke because our house was built in the 50s. The kitchen was redecorated in the 70s, and everything in our kitchen is green. It is 5 different shades of green. It's crazy. Everything's avocado or it's wild. So I like to be funny, got some more shades of green to add to the chaos. So that was a really pleasant surprise to find those. I also picked up a couple issues of Pom Pom magazine, one which I particularly wanted, the Moon issue, which I could not believe when I saw this there. So this is the autumn 2018 issue. That pattern on the front is just amazing. And then I also got the autumn 2017 issue. So I'll have to look through those, pull out some patterns. They both look really, really pretty. That was a pleasant surprise as well. All right, as far as yarn, here's like 1 skein each of everything I got. I'm not gonna show you everything. I'll just, again, show you some of the highlights. So I found this skein of Knit Pick Stroll sock yarn. Not really my colors, but think it would be a great gift for a couple of people in my life. I already have an idea of who I might knit these up for. I found 2 skeins of Noro. This Noro, it is their Tayo sock yarn, 50% cotton, 17% wool, 17% polyamide, 16% silk. So kind of an interesting blend. Really fun color. The color is S45. I could see myself using this as like the contrast color in a yoke or something. I think I like a lot of the colors that are in here. I don't know if I would necessarily make socks out of it. But yeah, 2 skeins of that. I got, speaking of summer yarns, 4 skeins of this, which is Lion Brand Touch of Linen. It is 51% cotton, 49% linen. The color is Dijon, which is funny, like the mustard. It's really, really pretty. Like I said, I got 4 balls of it, so plenty to make a top. I don't know if this is a color I can wear. I typically just avoid like any shade of yellow like the plague, but I thought maybe I could wear this. I don't know. I really like it. I think it's very pretty. I might crochet a top out of this. My friend Jess just started crocheting a top that I cannot remember the name of, but I'll put a picture of it and the title here on the screen. And it's really, really cute. And I thought maybe this color in crochet, if it's like really light and airy, could be something I could wear and would be fun. And I'm not risking an investment in yarn to make it if I don't like how it turns out, because I got it for free. So I think that might be what I make with this. I have no idea what this is, but I got this humongous hank of this very woolly wool in this perfect orange red color that I love so much. It's definitely wool. It's very sheepy, but there's no information on it. And it's the biggest hank I've ever seen in my life. I am thinking this is like probably a light worsted weight. I would probably use this in like worsted weight color work. I started kind of collecting random worsted weight skeins and like leftovers with the thought of doing either a stripy or scrappy sweater in the future, like a bulky sweater or something. So this I had in mind for that. It would be really beautiful as stripes or even a main cut. I don't know how much there is here. There's a lot. So that was a big one. And then the one I'm most excited about. Oh, I also found another like tank quantity of black cotton probably. Or at least I kind of want to make like a cream and striped something or another. So this could be the stripes. This is Jubilee Yarn Minnesota Cotton Select in the color Witching Hour Black. It's just 100% cotton. So I have more 100% black cotton. And my favorite find of the day, yarn-wise, is 3 skeins, or 3 balls, 3 pre-wound balls, but they're all full balls of this insane highlighter pink yarn. This one fortunately still has the tag. It is Montoya Merino Light. It is sport weight, 100% superwash merino. And I have 3 of them. So I don't know. What should I make with this? I feel like this could be a really fun tee or tank also. It is superwash merino, but I feel like in this color, in superwash, it doesn't tend to be as warm. I think that could be pretty fun. Or as stripes or color work, I don't know, but I have 3 balls of it. So that was a really exciting find. So that's all I'm going to show for the yarn now. If I start a project where I'm sharing, I'll make sure to say if I got it at this event. Fabric. I wasn't really expecting to bring home a bunch of fabric, but I found so much good stuff. I can't show all of it. Like, there's too much. Here's like a giant bag full. I'm just going to flash these to you. And these are just the ones that I bought to make garments with. I have a whole nother bag that's like quilting fabrics or bag fabrics that I just can't even show because there's too much. So I did get 2 fabrics to make sure it's for Troy. I'm always willing to sew for him, but I am not necessarily willing to like buy all the fabrics for him. So I always look for stuff for him at the secondhand shops or markets. So the first one I got is this really pretty plaid linen. And he really likes it. It's really crispy right now. I think it just needs to be washed, but I think this as just like a short sleeve button up will be really nice and breezy for him. And then this one was my favorite. It's this green cotton and it has little like foxes or coyotes with like a little desert kind of like outdoor scene. I think that will also be a really cute button up like summer shirt for him. Okay, the rest are for me. This one is so cool. I don't know what I'm gonna make with it. It looks like maybe somebody dyed it. So the fabric base is this like embroidered kind of little pluses, cotton fabric, and then it's like garment dyed. It's got this really cool like dye effect. There's quite a bit of it, definitely enough to make a top. I think it's really pretty. Certain parts are prettier than others. Some of the dyes are a bit darker, so might have to do some fussy cutting, but it feels like a really nice cool summer fabric, and I think it's really beautiful. I also got this fun white and red striped linen that I think will be a top for me. Very fun. I don't know what yet. Like I said, I wasn't really expecting to bring all of these home, but here we are. This one I think I might be most excited about. It's wrinkly, but this is like a rayon twill. It's this really dark, rich, like burgundy brown base with these flowers on it. It looks kind of vintagey to me. There's got to be like 15 yards of this here. There's so much of it. It's crazy. So I'm going to make some kind of like real dramatic, like fall dress out of this, like long sleeves, long skirt, like lots of volume, maybe one of the new like Silver Saga patterns that have been coming out that are really, really pretty. So, and honestly, there's probably enough to make like many garments out of this. There's so much of it. So that was really exciting. This one is also exciting. This is some Atelier Brunette fabric. It is also a rayon twill, maybe like a cotton rayon blend. Really fun print. I think this is going to be a great dress as well. This is expensive fabric. I was surprised to see this there. It's a little crazy, so I'll have to pick like a good pattern for it. Maybe something simple, like just like a boxy dress would be good. Maybe something I could layer like a cardigan or a jacket over, but it's really pretty. I really like all these colors, and there's quite a bit of this as well, maybe like 5 yards. And last but not least, I'm calling this bucket the like white eyelet-y bucket. So I have found this duvet cover that has this really pretty lace on it. So that was the first thing. It's huge, definitely enough to make some kind of really pretty like lace dress. I also found this piece of fabric. Papers are falling. That is beautiful lace, very open, very sheer. There's not a ton of this. So I could see this either being like a really small, delicate top or like a beautiful trim on a different project. And then separately, I found, it looks like there's quite a bit of this white textured fabric, which you can see it just kind of has these really pretty kind of shearing textures on it. There's quite a bit of it there. I think this will be beautiful top or two tops. I don't know. There's a lot here. I feel like this could be a dress. It's a little thin, so probably a top. But yeah, so lots of nice white finds. If I don't want this many white garments in my wardrobe, I could always dye them. And I do have some plans to dye a few things this summer. So that's all I'm gonna show for now because it's quite a lot. I'm probably going to start to pre-washing all these fabrics right after I'm done here. That is the one thing I would say with swaps like this. You just have to be a little bit careful with introducing this stuff into your stash because you don't know what kind of conditions it's been stored in. With any fabrics, you definitely want to make sure you wash them right away. Yarns, I'm a little bit more, I'm just having to trust people that they wouldn't bring like, you know, a moth infested yarn to a swap. You just have to hope and believe that that's true. I suppose I could put them all in the freezer before adding them to my stash, but that kind of seems just like a lot of work. But maybe that if I get moths in my stash, I'm gonna wish that I had done that. So just be careful, you know, do what you need to do to feel good about this if you are bringing secondhand items into your stash. But like I said, I do this kind of stuff all the time. I'm constantly buying D-stash and secondhand things, getting things at thrift stores, and I haven't had any issues yet. So I choose to believe the best in people, and that's how I live my life. So let's just quickly move on to knit and chat. I need to grab one thing. All right, so we talked about local yarn store day and the swap this morning. A couple of my other crafty friends came to the swap, which was really fun. It was good to see them. The next thing I want to share with you is Crafty Summer Bingo. So I was chatting with my friend Jess, hi Jess, on Zoom, and she was telling me she had this idea to do like bingo boards for herself over the summer to like motivate her to finish projects, and I thought that was so fun. So I made some little bingo boards for us. You can find like free versions of these all over the internet if you're interested in doing something similar. But I just made like really basic template for us, and I filled mine in. So I'm doing it each month. So I filled in my one for May. So I've got a free space in the middle, and you can see I kind of just went through my list of like priorities and filled in the squares. So I have things like shorten my outline tee, which is something I want to get done this month, some sweater surgery I want to do. I have finished socks on here twice. I have sew a garment on here like 5 times and just tried to like spread them out across the board. I have, what else? Publish a podcast, finish 10 of your quilt blocks, cast on this project, etc. So I just kind of filled them in with lots of things that are like on my radar. I don't expect to finish everything on here. But if I get a bingo or 2 or even mark off like half of them or however many, like it's just a fun thing to do for the summer to, if you have like random projects or goals you're trying to finish, like it's a fun way to do it. I think also you could give yourself a reward for if you get bingo. Now, you know, that would be like on an individual basis. I thought about whether I wanted to do that or not. I'm not going to. I think just having it and doing it and marking them off is like enough motivation for me, but who knows, maybe I'll like buy myself an ice cream or something if I get a bingo. But yeah, it's really fun. So I'm curious if you all would ever try something like this, or like I said, if you want to, you know, tag me on Instagram if you're gonna do it, or like let us know below in the comments if you decide to like make your own version. So yeah, that was a really fun idea that Jess had, and something I'm gonna be doing throughout the summer just for myself. Next, Me Made May, kind of already talked about that. If you're interested in following along with my Me Mades, mostly sewn garments, but a few knits sprinkled in, you can follow along on Instagram, which as I said is linked below, but it's at Sarah_seams if you're interested in following along. And the last thing I wanted to touch on was my next episode, which is going to be a special Mother's Day episode. So I talked about this in my last video, but I did just want to mention it here again. I'm planning to record a video with my mom on Mother's Day. She is also a crafter, an avid crocheter, the Crochet Queen, and we're going to share. We're trying to figure out exactly what the format's going to be, but I think I will show you an update on my crochet projects, so my blanket, and then I might cast on that crochet top as well, we'll see, and she's going to show you what she's working on. And then I thought we might also show you some of her like favorite crochet projects that she's finished and have her talk about them a little bit. She does Tunisian crochet, like she's really done a lot of like interesting projects, so I'll have her share those with you all. And then we're gonna do a Q&A section. So a few people already left questions for us in the comments on last week's video, and if you did, thank you so much. I wrote them down, so you don't need to comment with the same question again. But if anybody does have questions for me, or me and my mom, or my mom, I know you haven't met her yet, but you know, just in general, please leave them in a comment below and we will get to them in the Q&A section of that video. And I'll probably have some questions for her as well. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. This was, like I said, kind of a different one. I am loving the summer knitting. I always get so excited about it, like right around this time of year, and crank out a bunch of like tees and stuff. So I'm excited to wear them and wear the ones I made last year too. Yeah. Do you have the summer knitting bug? Are you switching to plant fibers, or are you still using your woolly wools? It seems like I'm doing both. So Again, thank you for watching. So happy to have you here. If you made it this far, like the video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to get notified when new videos are published, you can click the bell icon. And yeah, I'll have that special Mother's Day episode out next weekend, or maybe very early next week. I think we're gonna record it on Mother's Day. And then I'll be back with another regular podcast episode 2 weeks after that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you get lots of crafty time in the next few weeks. And until then, happy making. Bye.